What's going on, everybody? Hey, welcome back to the channel. We're gonna go over, as promised, buy, sell, hold. We will also go over guys that are stashes that I'm gonna recommend you stash on your bench, and guys that I'm gonna recommend that you probably cut. There's not gonna be too many people I'm gonna recommend to cut, but there's gonna be a few guys. So, and really, you know, a lot of this, once again, it's going to dictate really what your bench, what your overall roster looks like. So let's go into the buy, sell, hold here. And I kind of put, you know, for the most part, I put I put the guys who I thought would be on each page. We might change some guys around here. So let's just get started. I'm just gonna start dragging random names here off the board. We'll talk about them briefly, and we'll put them where we think they need to go. Let's go Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks. This is a guy, you know, not drafted super high. I think I'm gonna move Burks actually to the stash for the most part. I would say hold on to him. I'm gonna say you could sell him. But for now, I'm gonna just say hold on to him. You probably could sell him depending on your roster though as well. So let's leave him in the hold. There's really not a whole lot to say about Burks. He's the number 2 behind Hopkins. He's not a guy that I am dying to go get. I'm dying to roster. I'm not gonna cut him though for free. I'm not just gonna cut him just to cut him. I would like to move him or hold him, one or the other. He's not a guy I'm really buying though. Mixon right now, in my opinion, is a buy low. I think he's a buy low. You could probably put him in the hold category. You can't really sell him high. He hasn't done anything really for the most part the first 2 weeks of the season. So, but he's a guy that I currently have on one of my rosters. I'm not selling him for low. Running backs are dropping like flies right now. He is a number 1 running back with the timeshare. They might lean on him a little bit more here Monday night, say if Joe Burrow doesn't play. Either way, whether Burrow plays or doesn't play, I like Mixon. You know, going forward for the most part. I do worry about health a little bit, but I'm not gonna really we're not gonna like worry about that too much because injuries are tough to predict, obviously. So I'm gonna say buy low on him right now. This might be the only time you can buy low on him. So Kincaid is a guy that I'm just gonna say hold. You're not really buying him, or you're definitely not selling him. You could sell him, but you know, he hasn't really done anything too much. It's tough, man. Tight ends are, you know, the tight ends this year so far through 2 weeks is it's crazy how it really is just like you might as well just throw names into a hat and draw out of the hat right now. All the touchdown, you know, as far as all the tight ends go, they're all touchdown dependent, except for like Kelsey, Andrews, Hawkinson, those guys. I would even probably throw Waller into the top 5 right now. Outside of those guys though, it's like you're looking at matchups and you're hoping they fall in the end zone right now for the most part. So I don't know if I have. Let me get my, hold on a second guys. I gotta copy this over here real quick. That way I can see your guys' comments. Okay. So let's go T-Law. T-Law's next. T-Law, Trevor Lawrence here. I already sold Trevor Lawrence. I just traded him. I kind of have a rare scenario, but I'm gonna say buy low though. I would still buy him low, even though I just traded him. I would still buy, like, this is an opportunity to buy low. I ended up getting basically Lamar Jackson for him, so I didn't really. I would say I kind of sold Lawrence a little bit high, even though he's coming off of a bad week. And this guy that took Trevor Lawrence from me in the trade, and he gave me Lamar Jackson, he didn't buy low on him. So my scenario is a little bit different. But I would say if you own him, or if you don't own him and you're looking for a quarterback, try to buy low on him. Don't buy high on him. Coming off the bad game, buy low on him. He's a buy low candidate. If you own him, he's a hold or a sell high, obviously. I mean, it's going to be hard to sell him high. I kind of did, getting Lamar Jackson for him. But I did so because the guy that I traded with is like a huge Jaguars fan, and he uses emotion, basically. He goes off of his emotions to play fantasy football, so, which is something you do not do. But Lawrence is a buy low, though, if you're going to go buy him. Zay Jones is also I'm just going to put him in the hold category because he should be owned. You really don't need to go buy him if you don't have him on your team. I wouldn't recommend you going to buy him unless you're really dying for a third or fourth receiver or something. I'm going to say he's a hold. He's a guy that you need to hold if you drafted him. I've already had people come in during the last stream basically talking about like dropping him. Don't drop him. I know he laid a goose egg for you, but don't drop him. He's a good player. He's playing in all the 2-man receiver sets. He had 2 touchdowns that he dropped, or he caught, but he didn't get a second foot in. That, you know, they didn't count. So don't drop him. He's still a part of a high octane offense that had a bad week. He has a good quarterback. He's pretty much the number 2. You know, we'll see what happens with Christian Kirk going forward, but he's playing in all the 2 receiver sets over Christian Kirk. So Christian Kirk was more of a product of the game script and what the Chiefs were doing defensively, I think, more so than you know, just Kirk being really, really good. Kirk is a good player, but as far as opportunities go, I'm not letting go of Zay Jones just because of a bad week. Ja'Marr Chase, let's put him in the buy low. This is where he is. It's either that or holding on to him. You're not gonna be able to sell him high if you own him. There's a chance you could go buy low on him depending on your league mates. Maybe they're growing tired of him. We've had 2 games now, bad weeks, really back to back. Burrow is also kind of hurt. We'll see if he plays with the aggravated calf, you know, strain again. But Chase is still going to get the ball thrown to him. I think they're going to get him more involved here more often down the stretch. I'm buying low on him if the opportunity presents itself. Bottom line. Dameon Pierce. This is a good one for you guys because look, I was high on Pierce. I liked Pierce going into the season. We've been disappointed. I don't really own him in my main leagues. I do have quite a bit of them on best ball. I will admit that to you guys. I'm holding on to him though. I'm not selling him low. Like, I'm not selling him for a low value. I am holding on to him. I'm holding on to him. If I own him, you kind of have no choice. You might be able to package him with somebody else to maybe upgrade a little bit, you know, but for right now, I you know, if you're playing with some people who know what they're doing, I don't think that opportunity is going to present itself. I'm holding on to him if I'm you guys, really, or I could put him in the stash. I'm stashing him on the bench. I guess the hold, you know, holding is kind of like stashing a guy. So even though we got the hold here with the buy sell, we also have the stash here. It's kind of the same thing. But I'm not selling him, and you're not going to be able to sell him high, so there's no point. Garrett Wilson is a guy who he could really be in all of these categories. I could try to maybe buy low on him. You could, you know, if you're a good salesman, you could buy low on him. You could be like, hey, you know, you could get into some mind games with the guy who owns him. Be like, hey, he's missing his quarterback, blah blah blah. If he didn't catch that one pass for a touchdown, he would have had a horrible week. Blah blah blah. I would say you probably hold on to him if you're like, look, I have him in one of my leagues. I'm going to hold on to him, or I'm going to sell high on him. I will hold on to him, or I will sell high. And now is the time to sell high, coming off 2 touchdowns. He had a touchdown last week. He had a touchdown in week 1. He's given you the opportunity basically to sell him. I wouldn't consider moving on from him if the right player emerged. If I could maybe package somebody to go with him that's not quite as good, to buy into like a St. Brown, to buy into a CeeDee Lamb or something like that, I would do it. So, Breece Hall, I am buying low. I'm buying low on Breece Hall. He had a terrible game, obviously, only 4 carries, 9 yards. They're going to get him more involved here, I think, before too long. Really, it could start this week, but they're going to start getting him more involved. I'm going to tell you guys to buy low on him or hold him. Don't sell him. You're not going to be able to sell him for what you would get for him, would want to get for him. Anyways, you could probably still get quite a bit for him, I could imagine. But I'm buying low on him if I don't have him, and I have somebody like Najee or something. Najee is going to be a hold. I wouldn't say I'm buying him low. I don't think he's going to have a bad year this year. I'm holding him, and then I'm trying to sell him if he ends up producing for us for 1 week. If you own him, though, you're going to have to hold him at this point. In my opinion, it's going to be tough to sell him high. You're not going to be able to sell him high. So, Najee, he's in the hold category. Kyren Williams, you're holding. You could sell high, but I'm going to hold. I think he's a league winner this year. I wasn't fully convinced after week 1, but now I am. He's a league winner. He is the Kenneth Walker. He is the Elijah Mitchell of 2 years ago. This is him. He is him. So, Kyren Williams, hold. Rachaad White, I am also going to hold on Rachaad White if I own him. Looks like Chase Edmonds went down with a little bit of an injury. Don't really quite know the timetable on him. I would really have to look. I'm not really too sure. I haven't really looked at a whole lot of news lately. But he is a guy that I am holding on to with Chase Edmonds being away. Sean Tucker wasn't really involved too much. Rachaad White's opportunities really went up in this past week, and he's able to produce a little bit. So I'm holding on to him. You can maybe package him or sell him a little bit higher than what people would have sold him for, a week ago. But for now, I'm holding on to him, especially if I have, if he's like my running back number 3 or 4. I would consider moving him if he was a 3 or 4 running back on my roster, but you may have to package another guy with him to get what you really want. Gibbs is a buy low candidate. You may not have the opportunity now after the Montgomery injury, but he is still kind of a buy low, even a buy kind of medium category. You may not buy him low, but you're not going to have to buy him high. So, but Gibbs is in this category. He's going to have some more work coming his way. The more and more weeks go by, it's a little concerning that they don't really use him too much in the rushing game. Maybe out on the edge on the perimeter. He's not going to get too many carries in between the tackles, especially inside the 10-yard line. I think Craig Reynolds is going to take over that, those opportunities that Montgomery's leaving behind. But they're going to get him more involved in the passing game. In a full PPR league, he's a guy I'm buying low on right now. Zay Flowers is also a guy I'm buying low on. This could be tough to do depending on the league you're in. He didn't have the greatest game. He didn't look quite as good as what he did week 1. He did look pretty good week 2. This is a guy I'm currently trying to buy right now in my league. There's an opportunity you can buy low. And when I say buy low, like for instance right now, I am trying to trade Marquise Brown, and I'm trying to trade Zach Moss to get Flowers. That's what I consider buying low for him. That's not super low, but I think it's worth it. Whereas I think in a few weeks you're going to be tough pressed to sell somebody that's a 4 for a 5th round pick for him. So Super C&B Challengers. Should I trade away Miles Sanders and Olave for Jamar Chase PPR? Oh gosh. Let me move this comment down just a smidge so you can see. Well, let's put it right here. Well, you can see what I'm saying, I guess. I feel like you could give away a little bit less, maybe. If it's me personally, I'm gonna say I would do it. I would. It's you're taking a chance now. You're taking. I'm not going to say there's no risk involved. There's risk involved in buying some of these guys low, especially like Chase. We'll see, you know, because Burrow, I would like a healthy Burrow. If we had a fully healthy Burrow, I would totally do it. With the Burrow that we have right now, who's questionable, it's a little bit of a risk. I'm not super high on Sanders, and I don't think he's a good, like, 4th, 5th, 6th round pick. You know, where he was drafted somewhere in that range, depending on where you drafted, and you know, depending on what site you drafted on. But Olave, I do worry a little bit about Olave. I'm an Olave owner. I like Olave a lot. It's tough with Kamara coming back here pretty soon, and Mike Thomas being as involved as he is, and Shaheed being as involved as he is. I do think you're moving into a safer position as far as the receiver goes, long term, as long as Burrow doesn't miss a ton of time. But I think it's a reasonable trade. And look, you wouldn't have gotten this trade. There's no way you could have traded Sanders and Olave for Chase 2 weeks ago. So I would do it if it was me, and I would take the chance. There is a little bit of risk though involved. Don't get it twisted. There is some risk. Because I already have James Cook, Gibbs, Diggs, CD, and Olave, Miles on my bench, and Diggs, CD, and Chase would be nasty. Yeah. You have James Cook, Gibbs. Well, hopefully you have like another guy though behind Miles Sanders. I'm glad you have Cook and Gibbs though. Look, now that I know you have Cook and Gibbs and you have Diggs and CD, yeah, I would probably do it. I would do it. I think it wins in the long run, if I'm being quite honest. So I think it wins in the long run. Mike Williams. I don't know if there's really a chance that you can sell high on Mike Williams. He did have a better game this week than he did week 1. Doubled his catches, 13 targets this week compared to 4 in week 1. I mean 5 in week 1. He's a guy that I'm holding on to. I'm not buying him low. I would want to sell him high, but you're not going to be able to sell him high, so I'm going to put him in the hold category for now. So all right, appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, man, there's a little bit of risk. You know, you wouldn't have been able to get that trade though 2 weeks ago before week 1. There's no way. Now you know, that is a pretty steady opportunity. I don't mind losing it as long as you got the bench that you kind of have, you know, or you know, the guys that you have in place already. There's also a chance that you could flip Chase for 2 or 3 other decent players, say in a few weeks though too, if he goes off. And you know, if you really want to try to get like build your roster maybe a little bit more. Burrow's the same thing, dude. He's a buy low candidate. I'm a little bit worried about his calf injury re-aggravating it. It's a concern because he could miss some games, and that's really the concern about it. He's going to start playing better eventually. I'm not worried about that aspect of his game. But he's a buy low candidate right now. Look, you're taking risk when you look, guys. Whenever I go over buying low and selling high, you're taking risk, okay? Because none of us are fortune tellers. We don't know everything that's going to happen. But there's opportunities right now that present itself with these good players that have been good for the last 2 years, 3 years. We've seen it week in and week out. There's opportunities. There's doors that open in week 2 and in week 3 and in week 4 up until about 5 or 6. You know, usually after week 5, week 6, week 7, everybody kind of knows who's who, and really knows who they are for the rest of the season. Burrow is a guy that you could go get right now. You could trade Tua right now into Burrow. I'm not saying that's the best idea, but you could do that. You could give somebody Danny Dimes and another player, probably like another mid running back or mid receiver, and probably trade into a Joe Burrow after this past week, depending on the league you're in, obviously too. I mean, if you're in the league with some killers, then maybe not. But if you're in like a casual league, you could probably do that. And I would do that in a heartbeat. Like if somebody wanted Daniel Jones and Zach Moss right here for Burrow, I would do it in a heartbeat. So, speaking of Zach Moss, sell high. Sell high. I know he looked good. I know, look, it's Zach Moss, dude. He's good. He's okay. But at the end of the day, we got Taylor probably coming back week 5. He's a rent a running back for 2 more weeks. I am selling high right now on Zach Moss. I own Zach Moss. I'm trying to sell him right now. I'm selling him high. And I really don't need to elaborate too much on that. Sell him high. Walker's a hold. Let's put him like right here. Walker the third. Out of here. Walker is a hold or a buy low. It's gonna be tough to buy low when he scored 2 touchdowns last week. The week before could have been the week, after week 1 could have been a week of buy low on him. I apologize I didn't do a buy, hold, sell. A buy, sell, hold show or whatever last week. We're gonna try to do this steadily from here on out. I don't know if I'm gonna do it every single week. Maybe after week 7 or 8 I'll probably stop doing it, because at this point, at that point it's gonna be tough to kind of trade some people. I'll still go over trades, but I don't know if I'm going to go super deep into like buying and selling and holding people. Stevenson is he could be a buy low. I know he scored, but he hasn't looked the greatest quite yet. But this guy, I think he's tied for the most receptions right now at the running back position, especially in a full PPR. I would try to buy low on him. He did score a touchdown on Sunday night, so it could be a little bit difficult too. But I think there's a chance you could get him for a decent value, depending on the league that you're in. So I would say he's kind of a buy low. If not, he's a hold. If not, he's over here. He's a hold. Don't sell him. Eventually, he's going to start getting into the end zone more often. He's going to have bigger games, and Zeke is not a factor at all. So, and I think we pretty much know that. Mostert's a very interesting one. You're either holding him or you're selling him to the moon. You're selling him high. I'm in the category of selling him high because, and I'm going to move these guys over here a little bit so we can kind of tell the difference. I'm in the business of selling Mostert high because he's older. He's an older running back. I think he's going to be decent. He could be decent this year if he stays healthy, obviously. The health issue is a little bit of an issue for me to get past, but you could maybe buy into a, let me see here. You could buy into you could probably go get Eckler for him right now. And I'm not saying to do that, but you know what I mean? There's opportunities out there to move them if you like certain guys. You could maybe try it. Like the person I would want to go get the most would be Pollard, but you might have to give up another piece to go with it. And look, if I had to give up Mostert and a mid receiver, then I would do it. So, like if I had to give up Mostert and I had to give up Nico, of course I don't know anybody would take that. I don't think anybody would take that. But let's say like even Judy. If I had to give up Mostert and Judy to go get Pollard, I would do it. I don't know who would do that either, but you never know. You never know. You never know with some of the people that are in your league. That probably wouldn't happen in my league, but it depends on your league, obviously. Rank these 3. Hold on, why is this not coming up? So rank these 3, or rank these for week 3. Puka, Waddle, Nico, Amari Cooper, Flowers, Tutu. Good grief, man. You got so many like good receivers. Hold on a second. Let me look at matchups real quick. That's a tough one, man. I don't know. You got so many good receivers. It's like draw names out of a hat almost. Which I guess isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it makes it a little bit more difficult, obviously. There's no way I can start Nico like out of 3 guys whenever I have the guys that you have. The Broncos are decent matchup. They have a good total. I think you have to start Waddle if he plays. He's got to come out of concussion protocol though first, obviously. Waddle's a guy. Give me Puka. Puka and Tutu though, like I could see Tutu Atwell outplaying him. I can see it happening this week. Because maybe Puka gets a little bit more attention from the defensive backs here this week. We'll see. Give me Flowers too. Like Flowers, I think is the one that you kind of have to throw in there, and then Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper's a guy I would probably throw in there as well. So Cooper, Flowers, and then I'm taking Waddle if it comes out of concussion. So I'm sitting Puka, Tutu, and Nico. If that's, you know what I mean. If Waddle doesn't play, give me Puka, I guess. Give me Puka. It's close though. I wouldn't, I'm gonna let you go with your gut on that one, to be honest, because you have it's really 6 decent receivers coming off of last week. AJ Brown. AJ Brown is a hold. You gotta hold on to AJ Brown. He had a bad week last week, so it's gonna be tough to sell him. I would be trying to sell him high if I could. It's going to be tough to do that though after last week. Ridley is a buy low. Ridley is a buy low. Coming off a poor performance, try to get him for low value. He's still going to have a good season in my opinion. Buy low. Nico, hold on to Nico. Hold on to Nico. You maybe could sell high on him, and I wouldn't be against that depending on who you get, but you're probably gonna hold on to him. Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is going to go right here. We're stashing Miles Sanders is really what I would do until he has a good game. You might still play him from week to week. I'm going to let you determine whether or not you want to start him. I don't really like the guy, to be honest. I wasn't high on him to begin with throughout the year. And so I would stash him. Marvin Mims, this is an easy one. Sell high. Sell him for everything you can get. Sell him. He only had 2 catches. Judy's going to be more involved in the offense. I think Sutton's going to be a little bit more involved too. They were working in Johnson. They were working in Lil Jordan Humphrey. Sell Mims for whatever you can get for him. Sell him and get Nico. Sell him and get something that's better. Marquise Brown is a hold. You could try to sell him high though off this past game. Maybe you could try to sell him. I'm trying to sell him right now, so I'm gonna say sell high. You're not gonna be able to sell him like super high, but you might be able to work yourself into like a Lockett. Well, maybe not Lockett, but you could work yourself into, like me, I'm trying to work a Marquise Brown into a Zay Flowers right now. You know what I mean? He had a better week than Flowers did. Try to maybe work into a Zay Flowers. Try to work into a, somewhere around there. Hunter Henry is a guy I'm holding on to. You're probably not gonna be able to buy low on him if somebody owns him. So I'm holding on to him if I own him. Could sell high, but you're probably not going to. Goddard is a buy low candidate, obviously. Don't buy him anything other than buy low. Swift. So I have Swift as a hold. I would hold on to him, but I would also consider selling high on him too as well. I think he is going to be kind of the 1A to the 1B of Gainwell when Gainwell comes back. He is behind a good offensive line, so he is he's in this hold category. I would like to hold on to him, but if you wanted to sell high on him, now is the time to do it. So he could go over here. Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to do it. Drop. Maybe that's why I couldn't see. Hold on a second. Drop hits for Hunter Henry. I would say yes. At this point, yes. I would say yes. I want Hunter Henry over Pitts right now. Do I want to drop Pitts though? No. I would want to stash him on the bench. You notice Pitts isn't on here, right? You notice that Pitts isn't on here? I'm gonna, because he's on the stash. Pitts is gonna be, he's in here somewhere. He's jumboed in here somewhere. He's a guy I'm stashing, man. Because you're not gonna be able to sell Pitts. You're not gonna be able to sell him. And if I could sell him, I would sell him for anything I could get. That team runs the ball too much. Their run, you know, like the run ratio compared to all the other teams, it's not even close. Fields is a buy low candidate right now. Buy low and don't buy him anything other than low. I still own Fields. I'm not dumping him. He's a guy I'm holding on to if I own him, but he's also a guy that if you don't own him, I would. Actually, I'm not even going to say buy low because I really don't recommend anybody buying him. So I'm just going to put him in the hold category. If you own him, you kind of have to hold on to him until he has a good game. So, just hold on the Fields for now. But I would say if you wanted to go buy him low, like super low. And if you can't do that, then don't buy him at all. London. This one's pretty easy. He's on the cover of the thumbnail. Sell him as high as you can right now. Sell him right now as high as you can. This is your opportunity. I told you guys this last week. Whenever we were talking about week 2 guys to play, and you know, I said as soon as London has a good game, you guys need to sell him. There's a buddy of mine who's in the auction league who sold him last week, actually before his week 2 performance. So he probably should have waited until after this week, and then he probably could have got a little bit more for him. Sell him as high as you can. Once again, they run the ball too much, man, for my liking, and it's just going to be a nightmare figuring out who, like, you know, if you want to start him in your lineup at the flex spot or not every single week. Sky Moore is another sell high. I would sell him high after off this last week, or I would hold him. I wouldn't be buying him, but I would try to, if I owned him, I'd try to sell him. I would try to work myself into a Zay Flowers. Okay, that's like the perfect example. Judy. You could try to buy low on Judy. I think he kind of fits this category to a degree, or you're holding on to him if you own him. You know, coming back his first game. So, 68% of the snaps, 5 targets, 3 catches, 20. This is an opportunity to buy low on him. I wasn't high on Judy at all going into the season. I thought he was drafted way too high in round 3 and 4. I think for the most part round 4. But now you can buy him low. And when I say low, I mean you could buy him low. You could try to sell like London for him. You could try to move Zach Moss in for him. You know what I mean? Say you're good at running back. You picked up Zach Moss off the waiver wire either this week or last week like I did. You could try to buy Judy for him now. Especially if the guy needs a running back. James Conner, this one's about as easy as it gets. You notice all the Cardinal players are over here. Sell high. Sell them high. Sell them and buy Breece Hall. Buy Zay Flowers and Jahmyr Gibbs for him, maybe. There's somebody out there who might do that. It'd be crazy, but you never know. Steven says... Josh Allen is my QB. Bijan, Derrick Henry, Javonte. Those are good running backs. Wow. Evans, McLaurin, Slant Boy. Who's Slant Boy? I don't know who Slant Boy is. Enlighten me. Who is Slant Boy? Hollywood Brown, Judy Thielen, Cooks, Brandon Cooks. Tight ends are Andrews, Kincaid. Do I trade McLaurin and Thielen for Kamara? Yes, you do. You do it and you run for the hills, because if you don't, oh, Michael Thomas is Slant Boy. Yeah, you're right.
Robbery in progress.
Michael Thomas. Yeah, you run for the hills because the Popo are coming for you. The Vito Popo will be coming for you. So yes. Do I trade McLaurin and Thielen for Kamara? Dude, I'm telling you right now, if you get that, you better run for the hills. Yes, you do it. Especially with you got Mike Evans. Mike Thomas could probably be your number 2 pretty much. As long as Thomas stays healthy, he's a solid number 2 and at least a solid flex at the very least. The problem is you don't you don't really need another running back. You got Bijan, Henry, and Javonte. I think Javante's a solid number 3. As long as you get 2 guys in front of Javonte, I'm all for it. So you don't really need. I would like to go get another receiver behind Evans. I mean, I know you got Thomas, but and you got Judy. I mean, you might be okay. You might be okay at receiver. I would like to buy into like St. Brown or somebody, maybe. I don't know if that's possible, but it could be possible with the guys that you got on your bench. Brandon Ayuk is a buy low candidate now. He's a little bit nicked up. He's a little bit injured off the ribs, I think. He does play Thursday. We'll see what he does Thursday night. So you may not be able to get a trade in for him this week. We might have to wait and see what he does Thursday night. But he is a buy low. He's coming off of a bad game. He had a good game week 1. I would try to buy him low, and I wouldn't buy him for anything other than low, especially with the potential injury. We'll see how he looks Thursday night. I don't know if he's going to play or not. I would assume he's going to play, but we'll look. Keenan Allen is a hold. You hold on Keenan Allen if you own him. Kirk is a sell high coming off the last week. Sell him as high as you can. Sell him as high as he's not really working into 2 receiver sets. I don't trust the production that he got this week from week to week. Sell him as high as you can. You could maybe work yourself into a Keenan Allen, maybe. I doubt it. Keenan's probably a bad scenario. You could work your way maybe into Ridley, maybe, even though they play for the same team. That would be tough. Really, you might have to trade him across position. Maybe you trade him for like a Kenneth Walker. Maybe you trade him for a Kyron Williams, something like that. Maybe that's gonna be tough to do, obviously, as well. But I need to move Spears. Spears is on the wrong page here. Let me move. Spears is a stash, guys. Spears is a stash. He's going to be up here in the stash. We'll go over to stash and the cut guys here in a minute. So let me get rid of him. Boom. B-Rob is a hold. Hold on B-Rob. Do not sell him. If you sell him, you better get a bunch in return. You could sell high on him. You could sell high on B-Rob, and I would not be against it, depending on your roster. But if you're hurting at running back, you hold him. Waller is also a hold. Do not sell Waller for low. There's somebody like me, maybe, in your league. If you have a guy who's like me, I would try to buy low on Waller. He hasn't really scored yet. He's looked a little bit pedestrian. I think he looked pretty good this week compared to the first week, obviously. After week 1, it would have been the time to buy low on him. I think Waller's role is going to increase significantly coming Thursday night with no Barkley. What's good, man? Are you trading James Conner and Godwin for Ridley? Yes, in a heartbeat. RBs are Saquon, Pollard, James Cook, and Kyron. Wide receivers are Mike Evans, Mike Williams, and Kirk. Yes, I'm doing that in a heartbeat, and you're going to get vetoed probably. You're probably going to get vetoed. Or maybe CD. Yeah. CD or Kirk, take it and run for the hills. Take it and run. Roshan is also on the wrong. He's also on the wrong page. Roshan is also a stash. We'll get to those guys in a minute though. If there's a guy that's not on here that you want to talk about after I go over the buy, hold, sell, and I go over stashes and cuts, let me know and I'll put him in here. Kelly is a hold. You're not going to be able to sell him high. He's a hold. There's still, I think he's got this week and next week coming up. Or yeah, it could be week 3 and week 4. He probably still plays as the main running back. We'll see how much more time Eckler misses. He had a bad matchup last week against a pretty good run defense in the Tennessee Titans. Do not sell him for cheap. Somebody like me might try to come snag Kelly from somebody for cheap. Don't do it. Because I think he's got some better matchups coming up, and if Eckler misses more time, He's going to be a guy you're going to wish you didn't get rid of. But there's going to be somebody like a snake in your league, like me, who's going to try to come snake him from you for like cheap because he had a bad game. T. Higgins is a sell high for me, man. This guy's a wide receiver number 2 in the league. He's always been a number 2 on his team. He's going to be a number 2 on his team this year, even though he's got the head start over Chase. He's never eclipsed like more than 6 catches or whatever in a year. But off of this big game, you might be able to buy into Calvin Ridley. You might be able to buy into a Breece Hall and a Zay Flowers for him. Or a Gibbs and a Flowers for him or something like that. I don't know who would do that, but there might be people out there that would be willing to do it, and you take it and you run for the hills. You could buy into, if you needed an upgrade at quarterback, you could buy into T-Law. You could buy into, you know, Hall maybe with him. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, that might be stretching it. Maybe a Hall and a Flowers or something for him. Somebody who needs a receiver. Jacobs is a... Let's move these guys over here. We got a lot of guys in the hold category right now. Waddle is obviously a hold. You could try to sell him, but you're not going to get the value for him because he hasn't really had a breakout game yet. Jacobs, same thing. I would maybe buy low on Jacobs if I'm being honest. I think, look, I don't like Jacobs too much, and I think he's going to get hurt. But if you're looking for some production for a few weeks, maybe you buy low on him now, and maybe in like 2 or 3 weeks you could sell high and get like 2 really good players for him. I wouldn't want to stay on Jacobs the whole year. And maybe he proves me wrong. Maybe he stays fully healthy throughout the whole year. I'm gonna go against the history on that, and so I'm gonna say probably just hold him if you own him, because you don't really have much value in trading him right now. And I would want to trade him if it was me. Cook, you got to hold on to him because I think he's too good to let go. Davis, you could try to sell high on him, maybe a little bit higher than normal based off what he did this past week. Mike Evans, you are going to hold on to Mike Evans. You could sell Evans high though. I wouldn't be against selling Evans high. You got to get, I would want to get Ridley, and I would want to get like Ridley and somebody else, like Ridley and Gibbs, or Ridley and somebody, you know, maybe Hall. I don't know who would do that, probably nobody, but I would maybe sell Evans for Chase. Maybe I would maybe do that. Some people might think that's crazy, but if not, I would hold him. If you can't sell him high, you hold him. Bottom line, don't sell him for pennies, obviously. What's your take on Pitts? I think he's done. I think he's a bad pick in fantasy this year. That's what I think. I think I would be trying to move off of him as soon as possible. I'm not saying cut him. I'm not saying cutting him's the wrong thing to do though either. If you can't sell the guy, stash him on your bench until he has a good week, I guess. That's what I would do. I wouldn't recommend cutting Pitts because you spent too much draft value on guys like Pitts and stuff like that to be just throwing him on the waiver wire. Like, people are talking about cutting Dameon Pierce. You can't do that. There's a reason why he's in the hold category up here. You can't do that. Najee, you can't cut him. You spent too much draft capital on him. Wait, put him on the bench. Put him on the bench if you don't want to start him. I'm not going to fault you for putting him on the bench because they're not producing. But once they have a good game, then you sell them. That's what you have to do. Nobody cares about what they did last year. Nobody cares about any of that stuff. You look at Chase. Nobody cares that he was really good 2 years ago and then pretty good last year minus the injury. People care about what have they done for me lately. That's what everybody cares about in fantasy. And so that's my take on Pitts. 8-man full PPR: Mahomes, Eckler, Pollard, Garrett Wilson, Gabe Davis, Waller, McLaurin, Tutu, Cards defense, I'm guessing. Nick Folk, benches Najee, Kirk, Deontay Johnson. I'm 0-2. What position should I upgrade and who should I trade? Well, if you don't have Eckler's backup, so that sucks. You could try to move Pollard if you wanted to try to salvage this team, but you have to get like 2 guys for him. I love Tony Pollard, so I would not be trying to move Pollard. If I have to move Pollard because I'm in a scenario like you where like you're decimated at like a bunch of positions, you're pretty decimated at hang on the Waller. I would hang on the Waller. Don't trade him. I would try to move McLaurin and Tutu maybe, and try to get a running back. Try to move into a Breece Hall. Breece Hall is like one of my top buy low guys right now, guys, because he's coming off probably the worst week that he's ever gonna have this year, and it really is he got game scripted out. I would try to move Garrett Wilson and Gabe Davis. I would try to move both of those guys. They're over here on the sell high list. Try to sell high on them. And look, you see the guys that I'm buying low on. Those are the guys I'm trying to go after. There's some of these guys as well. Like Walker's a guy I would maybe try to buy into. Kyron, you already have. You have Kyron. You got Najee, Kirk, Deontay Johnson. You can't do anything with Deontay because he's hurt. I would try to sell. Look, Kirk's right here. Christian Kirk. Sell high on Kirk. Move Kirk. Move McLaurin and go get Ridley. Move Tutu and McLaurin, go get Breece. You know what I mean? Go get Breece. Go get Ridley. Go get Zay Flowers. Go get Gibbs. If the person, you know, that has him on their team's not high on him and they're worried because he hasn't really done anything in the first 2 weeks. You're good at, look, don't move Mahomes. Mahomes and Pollard and Waller. Those three are guys I'm probably not moving if I'm you. I would not move them. Eckler, you can't really move either because he's hurt. Eckler's a guy that you're stashing on the bench until he comes back from injury. You should have probably picked up Josh Kelly in his absence, or you should have picked up Kyron Williams. Try to pick up Jerome Ford tonight, maybe, if you can't make a trade. You know what I mean? I would definitely, look, everybody that's watching, prioritize Ford tonight. Dump 60, 70 bucks on him if you have to. On it. Should I trade Gibbs for Debo and Madison? I don't want anything to do with Madison. I don't even have Madison on this list because he's playing so bad. I do not want Madison. To me, this is like Gibbs for Debo straight up. It depends on your roster, Sam, but I'm going to say no, just on the, you know, from what I'm looking at, I'm going to say no, but I'd have to know the rest of your roster maybe to really give you a good judgment on it. Hunter Henry or Ertz? Ertz has kind of shocked me, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I did not see Ertz, like, his target share being so much better than all the other tight ends through 2 weeks. Give me Hunter Henry, man. Ertz, we'll see, man. I could be wrong on Ertz, but if I'm betting long term, I'm betting on Hunter Henry. Yeah, Hunter Henry, because he plays on a better team. I don't think you could go wrong with either guy, though. But both guys have been pretty brilliant, pretty good through the first 2 weeks. But if you're talking long term, if you're saying, hey, who do I want for the rest of the year from week 3 on out, I'm gonna make a bet on Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry's a little bit younger. I think he's better at this point in his career. Ertz plays on a team where he's getting the targets because the team is so bad, and Dobbs is the quarterback. But they're a team that's going to lose a lot of games. They're probably not going to score as much. The only reason why they scored so much this past week is because the Giants' defense is terrible. You're about to see them get really, really exposed on Thursday Night Football, I think. I mean, I think the Niners are going to score. Yeah, they're going to score around 25 points, probably. They could score more, probably, if they wanted to. But give me Hunter Henry, man, the rest of the year. Would you rather have Amon-Ra, CeeDee Lamb, or Ridley rest of the season half PPR? Ooh, that's a tough one, man. I'm gonna say CeeDee Lamb. Especially with the Brandon Cooks injury right now, CeeDee Lamb. It's really, really close, though. I like Ridley and I like Amon-Ra. I like them both. Give me CeeDee Lamb, though, rest of the season. If I had to give you one guy. Or a sneaky Jake Ferguson instead of Henry. Yeah, sneaky Jake Ferguson is also a guy. Of course, he's owned in my league, so I would be sneakily picking him up in waivers if I could, but I can't do that in my league because everybody's like on it. Yeah, so yeah, Jake Ferguson. Yeah, I agree with you, baby Santa. I agree with you. Let's go to the stash and cut page here. All right, so Sanders, Spears, Roschon. You got to stash these guys. Spears especially. I like Spears a little bit more than Roschon, obviously. Spears, if anything happens to Derrick Henry, Spears is a good guy to have. Ferguson is a stash. Really, Ferguson is a guy you should be just trying to get off the waiver wire or buy low. It's going to be tough, though, maybe. He didn't score, so that kind of... Or, I'm trying to think. Did he score a touchdown? Yeah, he did score a touchdown. He fell in the end zone, but that was about it. Ferguson's a guy I would try to maybe buy low, and I would definitely be stashing. I would not be getting rid of him if you have him on your bench, because a lot of people probably didn't start him this past week. Should I trade Hurts? Oh, we got to get this on here. Hold on a second. I don't have the comments on this page. All right. Should I trade Hurts and Garrett Wilson for Chase and Jacobs Cousins on my bench? Why don't you try to trade Cousins and Garrett Wilson for Chase and Jacobs instead? Did you try that already, Angel? Maybe swap out Hurts and Cousins. I like Cousins going forward. He is the #1 quarterback in fantasy right now. At least in my league, he is half PPR. I like Hurts obviously going forward just because of the rushing touchdowns and stuff. I think the Eagles' offense is going to wake up and get a little bit better as the games go on. I'm okay with Cousins being your quarterback if you want to go that route though. But I would try Cousins first because you'd be like, look, sell him. You guys got to be a salesman. Hey, I got a #1 quarterback on. This guy throws the ball 50 times a game. They have no rushing offense. They're going to throw the ball to JJ. He's got the best receiver in all of football. He's got one of the best tight ends. Sell him. You guys got to be salesmen whenever you're making these pitches to people, especially if they don't know fantasy, especially if they are casuals. Sell them. Be like, hey, I got the number. If they don't, you know what I mean? Maybe you're in a league where there are no casuals, but still, you got to be a salesman about it. Be like, hey, let's not act like this guy's not the #1 quarterback in fantasy right now. People only care about what players have done for them lately. They don't care about Cousins not being able to win a primetime game in the playoffs. And if they do, then you got to play hardball, man. It's the shit's chess, it ain't checkers. You know what I mean? As the old saying goes. Try Cousins first and then come back to me. I don't know if I'm doing this, to be honest, because really I don't mind. I think Chase and Jacobs, it's a fair trade for the most part, but oh man, I don't like Jacobs, man. I worry about him getting hurt. He's gonna be good as long as he doesn't get hurt, and I worry about that. I would be trying to move off Garrett Wilson. I would be trying to move into a Chase. I think that, but I don't want to give up Hurts for Jacobs. I'd rather give up Cousins for Jacobs. You know what I mean? Try it and see what happens, man. No, gotcha. Thanks. Okay. Yeah. Just go try it. See what, you never know, man. Try to sell them, be a salesman. Godwin. I'm not cutting Godwin, but I'm probably not starting him going forward right now. I'm stashing him on the bench until we see something. Charbonnet, same thing. Charbonnet, you're stashing, especially if you're a Kenneth Walker owner. You gotta stash him. With all the running backs that are going down, man. JT is kind of on the wrong... He's on the wrong screen here. I would say stash him if you own him. Hold on to him if you own him. If you do not own him and you want to get into him, you've got to buy low. Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to buy low on him because you're not going to be able to probably after, it's going to get harder and harder to buy low on him the closer and closer we get to him coming back. When I say buy low on him, I mean buy low on him. Don't be giving up ETN for him. Do not be giving up Breece Hall for him. Buy him low. Connor's the perfect example. Move off of James Conner, buy into JT. Move off of Drake London, buy into JT. Move off of Christian Kirk, buy into JT. Okay? I was never a fan of JT. I didn't want you guys to draft him. I didn't draft him at all, hardly, in best ball, and I didn't draft him at all in my 2 main leagues. Would I buy him though right now for a James Conner or a Marquise Brown or a Drake London? Yeah, I would, especially if I'm decimated at running back. So That's where JT's going to go. Let's get him off of this page. Gainwell, you're stashing him. You're stashing him. Chandler, you're stashing him. You're stashing him or picking him up off the waivers, especially if you own Madison. Especially, because he's coming from Madison's job. Speaking of Madison, here's Madison. Madison is a stash. I would say cut, but you're stashing him until he has maybe a decent game, and then you're selling him high. So once he has a decent game, you're stashing him out. You're probably not going to play him this week. I wouldn't think if you own, unless you're horrible running back room. Unless you have a horrible running back room, you shouldn't be starting him this week. Stash him on the bench. Hopefully he has a good game, and then next week we will put him over here next to Christian Kirk. Sell him high. If you can't sell him and you're really looking to move like some pieces around and you have to go find some guys off the waiver wire, I would consider cutting him because I think he's that bad. Same thing with Pacheco. You're stashing him. You can't cut him. I would maybe try to trade him a little bit. The Chiefs are not running the ball, guys. I've already seen the metrics. I've seen multiple charts. I don't even think the Chiefs ran the ball one play in the fourth quarter, I believe is what I heard on Sunday. Try to get off this guy, man, but don't do it for cheap. I'm not doing it for cheap. Probably spent too much draft capital to be doing that, but I'm trying to move, and I'm trying to move off of him because of it's just their offense, man. Their offense. I am a Chiefs fan, guys. I got Chiefs hat, I got Kelsey jersey. I live in Kansas City, Missouri. Like, trust me, guys. I know this. I know my team. They're not going to run the ball. This guy is touchdown dependent. If he doesn't score a touchdown, he's going to be bad for you just about every single week in fantasy. And I'm moving off of that. I'm definitely going to move off of it. But you got to wait for him to have a good game. The bottom line, you got to wait for him to have a good game. Monty, you got to stash. You got to stash Monty because he's hurt right now. He's good. Maybe you could try to move him if somebody's stupid enough to take a hurt player. His value is not going to be what you want, though, would be my guess. So I'm stashing him until further notice. Connor and Kirk for JT. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you're going to get that or not. But you never know. It depends. Like, I mean, you're not going to get that in my league, but there's some leagues out there where you got some casuals that might take it. Pittman or Mike Williams. Give me Michael Pittman. Pittman Jr. One wants McLaurin and Waller from me for Smith, Pittman, or Williams. You're the one who's in the 8-man that has... Is that Devontae Smith? That's Devontae Smith, right? Business Circuit, let me know if that's Devontae Smith. That should be right. There's no other D. Smith, right? Devontae Smith and Pittman for Waller and McLaurin. I would take it and run, but you're gonna have to pick up a tight end. Obviously, try to go out and get Ferguson. Try to go out and get Laporta. Try to go out and get Kincaid if he's out there. There should be some tight ends that are out there on the waiver wire. Let me look exactly who's out there on the waiver wire. That's at tight end. Like Hunter Henry should be out there. Maybe pick up Henry. Zach Ertz may be out there. Sam Laporta should be out there. Jake Ferguson, go pick up one of those guys. I'm okay with losing Waller if I'm moving into Devontae Smith. I think Devontae Smith, look, Pittman and McLaurin kind of cancel each other out in my opinion. Smith is much better than Waller, plus he's a receiver, and I think he's a top 10 receiver in my opinion. He's probably top 10 actually right now, but I think he finishes top 10 the rest of the year. Waller's a good tight end, and it's tough to move off of Waller like that. But I think you could probably, I think you're helping your team out by moving into Devontae Smith and then maybe grabbing, you got to grab a good tight end off the waiver wire or have one on your bench if that's the case. Also, Dobbs or London in my flex spot, PPR. You're talking about this week, Angel? Good grief. There's got to be better options, right? There's got to be a better option, right? Give me London. It's close, but give me London. And I hate even saying that because he plays for the team that runs the ball more than anybody. So it's really not Dobbs has freaking, yes, this week, good grief. If Christian Watson plays, I can maybe tell you Dobbs. I can maybe tell you Dobbs if Christian Watson plays. If Christian Watson does not play, it's London, okay? If Christian Watson plays, we could have a discussion. Because somebody's going to be getting Marcus Lattimore, and that Saints defense is really good. Much better than the defense that the Falcons are playing against in the Lions. So, Kyren or James Cook rest of the season. Give me Kyren, just because of touchdown opportunities. Kyron's going to have more touchdown opportunities. James Cook is not getting the touchdown opportunities because they're bringing in Latavius Murray and they're bringing in Damian Harris in the the goal line scenarios. And he's got Josh Allen that's going to run in a few as well. So give me Kyren Williams rest of the season because of the touchdowns. I also have Watson, but he's hurt. Okay, so you also have Christian Watson on your team then. I don't know if I'm starting Christian Watson the first week back from the injury against the Saints. If he plays. You need to, hey, sell London right now. Sell him. Move London off of the game that he had right now and buy into Zay Flowers. It's the best trade you can make right now. Zay's like the best kind of buy low guy at that position. You're not going to be able to get Chase for him. Flowers you can get. You can get Flowers right now for London, I think, in most leagues, depending on your league and who's in your league. I mean, that ain't gonna happen in my league. I mean, it could happen in my league. It wouldn't happen though if I owned Flowers. I wouldn't trade him for London. I would decline that so fast. But there's other people out there who probably won't. Gibson is he's a stash, but I almost want to put him in the cut category. But stash him for now, just because it's early. And you never know. Robinson could go down to injury. Aaron Jones is also a stash, obviously. Tank Dell is a stash. Go get him off the waiver wire. Hodgins also a stash. A lot of these guys are stashes. There's only going to be a handful of guys that are cuts. Stash. Really, Warren is a guy. Actually, I'm going to move Warren off of this. Warren is a guy to go buy low right now before it's too late. Before it's too late. Go buy Jaylen Warren right now before it's too late. Jaylen Warren's basically Tony Pollard and Najee's basically Zeke. If you guys wanted like a comparison, that's basically what's going on right now. Stash Musgrave. Gus the Bus is a stash, but you could cut him depending on your running backs. You could cut him. I would stash him though for now. Hyatt could be a stash off the waiver wire. He's not a super like priority, but you could stash him if you're looking to pick somebody up. Dell, there's guys like Dell. There's guys like Dell. Guys like Zay Jones if they're out there. Nico Collins, even Reynolds. And Tony and Jaden Reed I would rather have over those are guys I would all rather have over Hyatt, but if you want to take a chance with Hyatt, you could stash him. Okay, hold on, where am I at? Matt, what's up, man? Tua, Swift, Brees, Devontae Adams, Tyreek, Laporta, Gibbs, Connor, Roshan, Perine, Judy, Jason, Quentin Johnson, 12-man PPR. Stand pat or try to make a move. Well, you can always try to make a move, man. You don't have to, you can always make a move. Especially right now. Weeks 1 to 5 or 6 is prime season to make moves. I am trying to probably move Connor. Look guys, he's like, I'll go back to the page here. Connor is one of the best sell high guys that are here. He's one of the best sell high players on this list. He plays for a team that is not going to be good. He's had some pretty good weeks so far. And he needs touchdowns to be like really, really good. I know he had a decent week this past week, but he played a horrible Giants defense that we know is horrible. You know, they got 40 dumped on them again, you know, when they play the Cowboys week 1. It's going to be a struggle for anybody that's on this team going forward. Same thing with Marquise Brown. I like Marquise Brown a lot. The only way I'm really staying on Marquise Brown is if I believe he's going to get traded to somebody. Like if they trade him midseason to like my Chiefs or somebody, you know, a team that needs a receiver. But aside from that, I am trying to sell him. And look, I'm trying to get into a Zay Flowers. I'm trying to get into a Breece Hall. Even if I have to combo a Connor with a London to get a Breece Hall, I will do it. Hurts, CMC, Moss. Let me go back to the stash and the cut. Hurts, CMC, Moss, Wilson. I believe, is that Garrett Wilson? I'm guessing. Williams, Andrews, London, Bucker, Cowboys defense. My current team. What were we talking about, Angel? We're talking about the Garrett Wilson, Hurts for Chase and Jacobs. I would try Cousins, man. I would try Cousins. Drop Jamal Williams for Warren. Yes. Punch it. I got Burrow and don't have a backup QB. Cousins is on waivers. Would you drop... Who would you drop between Charbonnet and Madison to go get Cousins? I'm probably dropping Madison, bro. I'm doing it. I told you, look. He's right here. I'm gonna put this up here. This is stash. The blue is stash. The red is cut. Just so you guys know. Madison, he's a stash, but you need a quarterback probably, and Cousins is a good replacement right now. He's a number 1 QB in fantasy right now. He's one of the best replacements, especially if Burrow doesn't end up playing Monday, which you're not even gonna know probably until Saturday or Sunday. And so if you have to cut one of those two, I'm probably cutting Madison because Charbonnet could be useful if something happens to Walker. I don't think Madison's going to be useful at all this year. I think he gets his job taken here by Chandler here pretty soon. Chandler, I think, is more explosive. He's a better pass catching back as well. If you want to wait on Madison to have a good game, you can stash him until then, and maybe you want to cut, you can cut Charbonnet instead. If it's me, I'm cutting Madison between the two. If I'd gun to my head and I had to choose one, I am cutting Madison. Penny is our first cut guy. Cut this guy immediately. You're not going to get anything for him. He's worthless. It's going to be Gainwell and Swift's backfield. Unless you can get something for him, trade him. But if you can't, cut him. Javante's a stash, obviously. He's probably a lot of people's running back number 3. He'll move into a running back 2 spot, I think, later down the season, as long as he stays healthy. Elijah Moore, same thing. Elijah Moore, I think he's going to have increased workload coming here with no Chubb now. They actually used him in the backfield a little bit as well. Jason, same thing. We're waiting on him. We're waiting on an injury maybe. Dak, same thing. Well, really the rest of these guys are almost here. Ingram, same thing. Stash him. Maybe try to sell him, package him with somebody if you want to move into a different tight end, or if you pick up a tight end. Akers, also stash Akers. Akers, you have to stash him. You're not going to be able to trade him for what you want for him. Maybe he gets traded to a team where he ends up becoming like the number 1, or he gets worked in somehow, some way. He's a beneficiary of like somebody who gets hurt. Maybe stash Akers. He'll be probably the first player that's traded, like the first kind of big player that's traded in the middle of the season. So I wouldn't say big player, but household name player. Dotson, same thing, stash him. There's people that are out there cutting Dotson. I think if they do and you see him on the waiver wire, pick him up. D-Hop, stash him. Maybe try to sell D-Hop. If not, stash him. Cook, I'm okay with people wanting to cut Cook, to be honest, but I would stash him because he's just a big name player. Maybe he gets you a game where he goes decent, goes off a little bit, and then you try to trade him, sell him high after that. Tony, stash him. Quentin Johnston, I'm okay if people want to cut Quentin Johnston. I think a lot of people are a little bit too high on him. I'm okay if people want to cut him. If not, stash him though. If you're okay with getting rid of Quentin Johnston because you have other guys and you just have a pretty deep roster, cut him. Drop Pacheco for Ford, then hopefully trade Ford and Garrett Wilson for Aaron Jones. I don't know if I would do that. I'm not dropping Pacheco, guys. I'm not dropping. You guys probably spent way too much draft value to be dropping Pacheco. I'm stashing him until. Look, a lot of people have that guy starting. Like a lot of people have him as their number 2 running back on their team or number 3. Stash him and move him after he has a decent game. He's gonna have a game where he gets you like 2 touchdowns eventually. Whether or not he's on your starting lineup or not when he does that is up to you guys, but after that game I'll try to move him. And he'll get one of those games eventually where he scores a touchdown or 2, runs for about 100. That's when you sell him high. In my bench, any changes? Cousins, Breida. You got Cousins, Breida, Pierce, Algier, Reynolds, Brown. Which Brown? There's like 20 Browns in the NFL, bro. Is that St. Brown, AJ Brown, Marquise Brown, Antonio Brown, you know? Dobbs, Watson. I'm assuming that's Christian Watson. Yeah, that's Christian Watson. You told me earlier. Maybe try to, if that's Marquise Brown, which I'm assuming it is, try to move Marquise Brown and Cousins or something. Like you have Jalen Hurts on that team, right, Angel? So you could maybe do that. You're not going to be able to move Pierce or Algier. I don't know if you want to move Algier anyways. I would hold on to him. Reynolds is a guy that you can stash. Pirine, this is also another guy you're going to stash just in case anything happens to Javonte. Reynolds is a waiver wire pickup. If you're a light at receiver, pick him up. AJ Dillon. I'm actually kind of okay if people want to cut Dillon, to be honest. I don't think he's going to have a good year. Love is a waiver pickup or a stash or even a start, depending on your quarterbacks. Same thing with AR5 here. Anthony Richardson, stash. Eckler is also a stash. So really, these are only the 3 guys I would really recommend cutting. There's other people that I haven't really... there's other people that I haven't gone over yet. So if you guys want me to go over, I will go over those guys. Would you trade James Cook and Pat Freiermuth for Mark Andrews and Jonathan Taylor? I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no. That's really kind of up to you. If you're getting Mark Andrews and Jonathan Taylor, I would take it. I would take it. I don't like giving up James Cook, but I would take it. Yeah. So yeah, Rendon, I would take it. It's close, but I would take it. Would you sell Connor, Godwin, and Kirk for Amon? Yeah. I have Saquon, Pollard, Kyron, James Cook, plus Mike Evans, Mike Williams. Yeah, I would. Also, should I drop Spears for Jaden Reed, Tank Dell, or Adam Thielen? I would say Tank Dell's like my top guy that I would go between those 3 guys. Thielen's okay. I worry about Thielen like missing time because he's missed time in the past. He's 32 years old. He was already kind of questionable, the first week. So who the hell is? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Reese. I don't know. That's why I would take it. I don't know who's giving up Mark Andrews and Jonathan Taylor. You're also getting Jonathan Taylor too, who we don't know. Taylor could just be a complete bust the rest of the year if he comes back. We don't know. Or he could be a guy who gets traded or even stays with the Colts and ends up producing. Drop Charbonnet for Ford. Yes. Yes. I would. Drop Pitts for Ertz. Have Laporta as well. Okay, if you also have Laporta, then yeah, do it. I would maybe look. I say this is what I would say, Reese. Keep Laporta and probably keep Pitts. I don't know if I would pick up Ertz. I would just stream Laporta, wait for Pitts to have a good game, and then try to move Pitts. You know what I mean? I don't know how much value you guys spent on drafting Pitts because I didn't really draft them in redraft at all. I'm assuming you spent like a 7th or 8th round pick, maybe a 9th round pick, maybe depending if it's a 12 or a 10-man league. But I don't think Ertz is a necessity as long as you have Laporta. Just wait for Pitts to maybe have whether or not you start him or not is up to you, but wait for him to have a decent game and then trade him. I mean, because at this point it's like, yeah, you could probably cut your losses and just put him on the waiver wire. I do think he's going to have a bad year. I would be more willing to, as long as I have another tight end that I can start over him, I would be more willing to stick it out. I mean, you have till week 9. Laporta has a bye on week 9. So you have until week 9 to hope that he goes off for you in 1 week, and then you try to move him. You try to fleece somebody. I would drop Pitts for Ertz. Yeah, I mean, you could. I'm not going to say it's a bad idea. But I would also play the game of like, look, you got Laporta, who's a decent tight end, even though he's a rookie. I think you could stream him for up until his bye week, and then you just wait for Pitts to hopefully have a Drake London type of game that Drake London had last week, and then you sell him. You sell him for something. Go get, you know, well, I mean, obviously it depends on how players are playing at the time that he has a good week. Maybe he has a good week this week. You never know. So I understand the urgency with Pitts, and it's a guy I probably wouldn't have drafted this year considering the offense that they run, the quarterback that they have. Look, London and Pitts are just guys that are a part of a bad offense that doesn't pass the ball much, and they don't have the greatest of quarterbacks. It's just a bad scenario. They're not bad players, it's just a bad scenario. If either one of those guys played for the Chiefs, or if they played for the Bills, or if they played for like the Cowboys or something like that, they would be really, really good fantasy football players. But they're just not, because they're a part of a run-heavy offense. The most run-heavy offense in the NFL. And that's just the bottom line, So, but, they're going to have a week, like a spike week every now and then. London had a good week this week. He's probably in for a bad week. He probably, he could be okay this week, but he could be in for a bad week in a couple of weeks. So he's not going to be reliable week in and week out is the bottom line. So they're guys that whenever they have they have their spike weeks, you got to move them. So all right, guys, that's pretty much everybody. There's some players I didn't really go over, but if you guys want me to go over them, I can add them on here. We don't have much room for the stashes. There's a lot of guys that you're stashing. There's some of these guys like Roschon. If you want to move them, you could move them. If you wanted to move Roschon and cut him because you got other players, I wouldn't be against it. Roschon's a part of an offense that's going to be pretty bad this year. A little bit of a split backfield right now as well. By the time he gets the starting role, which I think he will get the starting role eventually, is it too late? You know what I mean? Has too many weeks gone by? Maybe he's a guy, you wait until week 8 or week 9 or week 10 when we find out maybe he could end up taking over the starting role or something. He's also a guy that I would stash though if I had Herbert on my team as well. So it really just depends on your scenario. Superflex League, I have Pickett on my bench, Hurts and Fields starting. QB bye week isn't until week 10 for Hurts, and then obviously it's week 13 for Fields. Pickett has week 6. Drop Pickett for Nico Collins and try to flip him in your bye. Yeah. Yes, I would. Nick Chubb. Yeah, Nick Chubb's out for the season, bruh. He's out for the season, bruh. This guy's trolling me. Jeff, quit trolling me. Think you're slick. Yeah, if you have Nick Chubb, you probably might want to go get Ford tonight. I don't think there's any news about Hunt signing. It said he visited with the Browns Tuesday. That's today, taking a visit with the Cleveland Browns. Hunt has been a free agent all offseason, has been waiting for the right situation before signing anywhere. Now his former team is without Nick Chubb, knee. For the rest of the season, they're looking at the possibility to bring Hunt in and help replace his production. I think this is the most likely scenario. I still think it's Jerome Ford's backfield no matter what, though. They will work Kareem Hunt in eventually. Let's say they signed him tomorrow or Thursday. I don't think he'll play much this week. They might try to work him in on like 5 plays maybe, but that's about it. Just to kind of get him like acclimated to the game again and get him closer to, getting him in shape. It shouldn't take long to get him in shape, maybe another week, but it's still Jerome Ford's backfield in my opinion. They chose Jerome Ford over Kareem Hunt over the offseason, so I don't think that's going to change just because Nick Chubb got hurt and then they bring in Kareem Hunt. So Wendigo says, I got Burrow in another league and Derek Carr is my backup QB. Should I start him or drop him for Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, Stroud, Barker? I'm assuming that's Baker Mayfield, or Stafford. I'm holding on the car if I'm you. I'm holding on the car. How did Carr do last night in fantasy? Let me see how Carr did last night in fantasy. Oh god, he did terrible. He didn't even throw a touchdown. You can take a chance on Daniel Jones. He does play Thursday. I think he's in for kind of a rude awakening. He's in for a little bit of a bad matchup. But they might just lean on Daniel Jones as far as, like, they're going to lean on him as far as the rushing protection. You might see Daniel Jones try to run for about 50 or so yards in a couple of nights. I don't know how well, or how well he's going to fare in the passing game against that defense. That defense is pretty good. They are going to lean on Daniel Jones, though. He's going to be throwing the ball. He's going to have more rushing yards than probably the running backs, I think, until Barkley comes back for the most part. You could take a chance on Daniel Jones. I don't mind him. If you're expecting a week like last week, though, you need to probably lower your expectations. They got a much better defense that they're playing against. And they don't have as much time to prepare for him because it's a Thursday night game. So I wouldn't mind going out and get Stafford. Stafford and Stroud have attempted the most passes of all the quarterbacks so far through the first 2 weeks. Stafford's missing touchdowns. That's his problem. He's not getting the touchdown production. Maybe he gets some of that back this week against a Bengals defense. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't mind Russell Wilson, though, either. Maybe I would move Carr. Carr's got Green Bay coming up. I wouldn't be against Jones or Stafford, or even Russell Wilson, to be honest. Let's go to the waiver. Let's go back to the waiver page here. Like, Stafford and Love are kind of my top two options here. You didn't mention Love, so I'm guessing somebody owns him. So one of those two guys would be my top two options. And really, Russell Wilson, Mac Jones, Stroud, those are also options as well. Stroud wouldn't be a bad option. They got Jacksonville this week. They throw the ball a ton. They've been throwing the ball a ton the last 2 weeks. So if you want to move off Carr, I wouldn't be against it. I do think they're, what I worry about with the Saints offense is that, Taysom Hill is going to steal a couple touchdowns here or there. But really, until Kamara comes back, a lot of the touchdowns should come from Derek Carr. So he's thinking about Cousins, Wilson, and Pierce for Jacobs and Chase. He has Geno Smith for his QB, and I'm trying to sell Cousins. If he gives you Jacobs and Chase for Cousins, Wilson, and Pierce, I would do it. I would do it, Angel. With the team that you said that you have, that you said that you had, I would do it. Is Saquon playing Thursday? I don't think so, Jeff. They said he's questionable, but we'll see. But I don't think he will. Start Goff or Fields. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Goff or Fields. Good grief. Is that what it's come down to? Look, I have Justin Fields in one of my leagues. I'm starting him because I kind of have to, because I have double points for rushing touchdowns if a quarterback rushes for one. I think even though he's going to play bad probably again, maybe he turns it around. I'm not quite sure. I have to start him in case he runs for a touchdown, because it's just so much points that I can get if he runs for a touchdown. So I'm going to start Fields in the one league that I have him in. But if you're not, Blake, if you're not in a league like that, then I would maybe consider Goff. He's got Kansas City. Kansas City defense looked pretty good. They looked much better with Chris Jones back in the lineup. Chris Jones is going to be an issue for that offensive line. Mark my words. This guy. Let's see here. Jared Goff. Jared Goff has the Falcons defense. Falcons defense actually playing pretty well to start the season. 35 attempts in back-to-back weeks for Jared Goff. I'm going to say give Fields another chance, but I wouldn't. If you don't want to, I'm not going to knock you for it. I think they're both kind of pretty even as far as like rankings go. So As far as the rankings go, I mean, I got Fields slightly better than Goff, really, if I'm being honest. Just because of the rushing production. I think we're gonna get the rushing production this week. I don't trust Carr because Taysom Hill, Taysom Hill did take a lot of snaps last night. Stupid Saints. Yeah, I know, dude. It's so frustrating to watch. Wendigo says Goff. Goff is probably your safer option. Your higher ceiling option is Fields. Let's just put it that way, Blake. So, do you want the higher ceiling or do you want the, you know, the more safer play? Put it that way. I don't think you're gonna see. You're not gonna see a whole lot of rushing out of like Craig Reynolds and Jahmyr Gibbs this week. I don't think you're gonna see them air the ball quite a bit, and so. But if it's me, man, I'm gonna give Fields another chance. Should I trade Chase? I have St. Brown, Waddle, and Ayuk at wide receiver and need help at running back. You might have to wait a week, man. I wouldn't be against it, but look, Chase is a buy low candidate right now. So it depends, I guess, on what you can get for him. I got Chase on a buy. He's a buy low candidate for me. I'm not giving you Pollard for him. You know what I mean? I would try to move into a Tony Pollard. I would try to move into, if you could move into Tony Pollard and pull off some magic trick to do that, take it and run for the hills, because I think it's highway robbery is what I think. So
Robbery in progress.
I think it's highway robbery if you were supposed to, you know, if you moved Chase into Pollard. Full PPR. You might have to wait to do that though. You might have to wait. Chiefs are gonna destroy Fields this week. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not saying Fields is going to have a good game, but there's a good chance he could maybe bounce back in fantasy. That's the thing about Fields. He's a bad QB, but he's good in fantasy. So, especially in a league like I am, where if he rushes for a touchdown, it's like 12 points or even 18 points, depending on how far it is. If you're in a normal league, though, yeah, he's not quite as good, obviously. Fields could be a guy like I might be trying to sell high on if he has a decent week this week. If he can get you like 20 to 22 points, somewhere in the ballpark of that, which I know is not looking like it could be the case the way he's been playing, but if he could, or if he does do that, I might be trying to move him. Would you trade Chase for Hawkinson? I have Ertz in front. No, dude, I'm not trading Chase for Hawkinson, bro. No. Start Ertz this week, you know, start Ertz, or go get Ferguson off of the waiver, go get Laporta or somebody like that. Start Ertz, you're fine. Just start Ertz. I'm not trading Chase for Hawkinson straight up. Don't do that. My team is ass. One last year, terrible this year. Did you get hit with an injury like Nick Chubb or Dobbins? I got hit with an injury, Nick Chubb. I mean, the good news about my team is that I mean, technically, this isn't my team right now because I just made a trade, but I mean, look, guys, I got hit with, look, I got Nick Chubb down here on the IR already, guys. You see this right down here? I got him down here on the IR already. But, and then obviously I got Lamar Jackson coming in for Trevor Lawrence, but because right here I made the trade. This is the trade I made earlier today. So I got Lamar Jackson coming in, but I have Breece Hall, I have Kenneth Walker, I have Joe Mixon. This is why I drafted 4 running backs, like good ones. So I bidded, you know, I got Mixon for 35, probably spent a little more than I wanted to in the auction on him. Walker was one of my keepers for $13, and I drafted Breece Hall for 34. And then I spent 50 on Chubb. But this is why I went out and got the running backs that I got for this scenario right here. And then, yeah, so if you got hit with Chubb, I could understand you needing a running back, obviously. But this is why you draft multiple of them for situations just like this. Mahomes versus Field, I'll take Mahomes. Well, yeah, Mahomes, yeah, the Chiefs are going to win the game, but that's not to say that Fields can't have a decent fantasy game. You think Jonathan Taylor plays week 5? Yeah, I do. We'll see though, man. I don't know what to think about the Taylor situation. We haven't really seen anything like this at all, really, in a long time. Really, we haven't really even seen anything quite like his situation though either. I'd say a similar situation that he was in was kind of like Le'Veon Bell, but Le'Veon Bell never missed the first 4 weeks and then came back and played week 5. He just sat out the whole season, you know. I think this is a very similar situation as far as the relationship of player to organization. So maybe they moved Taylor, dude. You know what I mean? Maybe they move him. I don't know. So I think he plays week 5 though. I think he has to play week 5 if he's healthy. They say that he's already kind of healthy. He still has to wait this week and next week though, because he's the mandatory sit. So what do I think about Rashad Penny? This is what I think about him. He's right. He's over here. You see him up here, top right? I think you got to cut him from your team. He's a guy I would cut off my team and I would not lose any sleep over it. That's what I think about Rashad Penny. Cut him. Get him out. Get him out of here. Because you're not going to be able to trade him more than likely. There's no way you're going to be. And I don't know if he's worth stashing at the end of your bench. If you have guys that you're picking up off the waiver, if you already have a decent bench, you have guys that you just cannot, you know, get rid of and keep him on the bench. So I think he's a guy you should cut. He's one of the few that are on the cut list. Dylan's up there, so is Quentin Johnston. You can make a case for Dylan and Quentin Johnston to stash him on your roster at the bottom of your depth chart, but you could also make a case, I think, to get rid of them too. So, because you can have guys like Tutu Atwell, guys like Zay Jones, Jaden Reed, Zach Moss, an extra quarterback, maybe an extra tight end, a Marquise Brown, Javonte. You got a lot of guys out there that really could be filling up your bench spots. You know what I mean? That you would want to hold on to and wait for later weeks to use. So, damn, I have Dylan and Penny. They aren't important to my team, but I'm also in a 14, so I don't know if it's worth it. Yeah, a situation kind of dictates. If you're in a bigger league, 14, 16 man, 32 man league or whatever, yeah, then we're having a different conversation. But in like a 12 or even a 10, especially a 10, there's no way. There's no way they're on my roster. Unless I lost like Chubb and Dobbins and I got other guys that are injured that I have to get rid of and I have to keep the healthy guy, there's no way. But in your situation, 14 man, I could understand having them on your bench then, because benches are going to be, they're not going to be as full as they are in like a 10 man where they're just stacked with people that are good. So, all right, guys, I got to get off here. It is 11 o'clock. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for tuning in. This was our buy, sell, hold, stash, and cut segment of the week. I'm going to try to do this for at least about up until week 8 or week 9. And then I may kind of just not do it as much. And because by then we're kind of going to know who to stash, who to cut and everything else. We won't really have to do a big segment like this where right now we have a lot of question marks. So I appreciate all of you guys tuning in, and please like and subscribe to the channel if you guys enjoy the content. It really helps me out. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. We've actually gotten quite a few over the last few days, so we're up over 220. So I appreciate every single one of you guys tuning in. Like I said, I'm getting ready to sign off. If you guys missed it, just go back and watch it. I've only been live for about an hour and a half, so I don't want to make it too long and make it, unappealing to watch because it's so long. So I lost Nick Chubb yesterday. It was a sad day. Yeah, I did too, Ray. It's okay, man. It's okay. It happens, man. It happens. You got to adapt and adjust. That's why I have Mixon, Walker, and Breece Hall, dude, behind Nick Chubb. Like right here. This is exactly... Chubb's down here already on my IR. This is why I have Mixon, Walker, and Hall, dude. This is why I drafted those guys. So... Go pick up Jerome Ford, especially if you had Chubb. Go pick him up. Drop however much money you think you need to. Go drop, drop $60, $70 on them if you have to, if you have fab money. If you're in the waiver order, you need to change your rules to fab instead of waiver, because that shit's stupid. And if you don't have a top waiver priority, then if you don't have a top waiver priority to get him, this is what I would tell you.
Oh, well, better luck next year.
That's what I would tell you. Better luck next year. So I will. Nick Chubb on the field. He's my favorite running back. Yeah, dude, he's one of the best runners of the ball, period. Best pure runner probably in the game. Probably. So would you start Stroud over Carr this week? Yeah, I wouldn't say no. I would say I would think about it long and hard, and I would probably do it. Yeah, I think I would. I got waivers in for Ford, Moss, Nico, and Hunter Henry. Okay, man. Well, I hope you get at least 2 of those guys. Ford and Nico would be the 2 I would, unless you really need a tight end, Ford and Nico would be the 2 I would prioritize. Moss would probably be last on my list. And then if you really needed a tight end, maybe you could move in front of Nico for the number 2 spot. Ford is definitely priority number 1 though, without a doubt. All right, guys, I am out of here. Once again, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all the support, and I appreciate you guys. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We will catch you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to try to put a video out for our Survivor Week 3. I need to, so this was Survivor Week 2. I need to put the Saints on here. The Saints are a check mark, so we hit 7 out of 10, not too bad. 7 out of 10, not too bad. And I appreciate, yeah, I appreciate all you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't know if I'm gonna do a live stream, but I'm gonna make a video for the Week 3 Survivor contest, okay? You guys have a good night. I'm out of here. Peace out. We'll see you guys probably, we might do a live stream Thursday, but tomorrow it should just be the video for the Survivor, okay? Unless there's like some breaking news, we might do like a segment of breaking news, okay? So, last question, Andrew. Last question. What do you got here? It's, I got a trade in front of me in my league. I give CJ Stroud and James Conner, and I'll receive Russell Wilson. Wait, you give CJ Stroud and James Conner, and I receive Russell Wilson and James Conner. What do you mean, bro? Retype your question. You get 2 James Conners on there. This is you're giving James Conner and receiving James Conner. That's not possible, bro. I've got a trade in front of me. I give CJ Stroud, James Conner, I receive Russell Wilson, and who's the other player? It's not. Give me your question again. Retype it. All right, I'm signing off. I'm gonna go into the ending stream page. I'm gonna still stay on. Give me your question, Andrew, and I'll answer it before I completely sign off, okay? You guys have a good one. I'm out of here. I'll catch you guys probably Thursday. We'll have the video out tomorrow, though, for the Survivor, okay? So, Andrew, give me your question again, man. All right, Andrew, you got like 3 minutes, bro. 3 minutes to give me your question and I'll answer it. If you don't answer in 3 minutes, I'm signing off, okay? You'll have to ask me on like one of my comments, you know, comments of one of my videos, okay?